Okay, here's some more examples for operations with complex numbers, and you might see something like this. So this is an example. 15 minus the square root of negative 27 all over 18. And I think they wanted you to put these, if you looked at our worksheet here, in standard form. So the first thing we want to do is take out the i's, get the i's out of there. So this is going to be 15 minus I times the square root of 27 all over 18. So that's the first thing you do is take out the i's. Now, we can simplify this because this has got a perfect square factor, so this is going to be the same thing as 15 minus I times the square root, and 27 is the same thing as 9 times 3 all over 18. And I know that that's a perfect square, so this is going to be the same thing over here as 15 minus, and if I take that, the square root of 9 is 3i times the square root of 3, all that's going to be over 18. Now, if we want it in the standard form, a plus bi, then we'd have to separate this up. And we've got 15 over 18 minus 3i times the square root of 3 over 18. And we can reduce that. 15 over 18 reduces to be 5 over 6 minus 3 goes into 18 6 times, so that's going to be 6 in the bottom. So it's going to be the square root of 3 over 6, and then we put the I at the end in this case. So this is like that standard form, A plus BI. In this case, the B is minus or negative the square root of 3 over 6. And then you leave it like that. Oops, there you go. All right. Here's another example of things you might see here on your assignment. Five minus 3i times 2 minus 6i. So what we got to do is we've got a binomial, so we're just going to multiply this out using our FOIL process. And 5 times 2 is 10. That's the first term. And then 5 times negative 6 is negative 30i. That's the outside. You can see that. Positive times negative is a negative. 5 times 6 is 30, and we got an I, just like it was an X. Then over here, negative 2 times 3 is 6i. And last, now this is the interesting one, a negative times a negative is a positive. 3 times 6 is 18, and I times I is I squared. But what was I squared? If we go back, remember our notes, we talked about I squared. I squared is just, if you look up here, I squared is negative 1. So when you see that I squared, that's going to be a rational part of the number now. So we have 10. And negative 30 and negative 6 is negative 36i. And this is just negative 1 now, so this is just negative 18, because that's negative 1. And 10 minus 18 is negative 9, so I end up with negative 9. I'm sorry, 10 minus 18 is negative 8, minus 36i. And there's your answer in our standard form, excuse me. All right, and we can just square these out too. Here's one where we have a square. Five minus 12i squared. If you can see that. Well, remember, when in doubt, write it out. So that's just going to be 5 minus 12i times 5 minus 12i. And then we FOIL this out. 5 times 5 is 25. And then 5 times negative 12 is negative 60i. And negative 12 times 5 is again another negative 60i. And a negative times a negative is a positive. 12 times 12 is 144. And I times I again is I squared, which is negative 1. So now I've got 25. A negative 60 and a negative 60 is a negative 120i. And plus, well, no, I'm sorry. This is negative 1 times 144. And a negative 144 plus 25 is a negative 119. Minus 120i. If I add 25 to that, I get 14, carry 1, 4, yes. So that's your answer in standard form. Okay. And you can have more complicated situations. Here's another good one. Oops, sorry. Minus 2 minus I squared. So I can multiply this out. This is going to be 4 times 5, just distribute. 20 minus 12i minus, and I'm going to write this out, 2 minus I times 2 minus I. And then I'll multiply this out and using the FOIL process. So I've got 4 first terms, then negative 2i and negative 2i, so negative 2i, negative 2i, and a negative times a negative is a positive, I squared, which is just negative 1. So when I simplify this, I've got 20 minus 12i minus, this is going to be 4, this is going to be negative 4i, and minus 1 because I squared is negative 1. So that's going to be 20 minus 12i minus, and 4 minus 1 is 3, minus 4i. And then I can just remove this parenthesis, so I've got 20 minus 12i minus 3 plus 4i. And now I can just simplify. 20 minus 3 is 17. And negative 12 plus 4 is negative 8i. So that's what you got.